Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is December 20th of 2019. Just yesterday, The Rise of Skywalker made its official debut into theaters in the United States. A lot of fans seen the movie. A lot of people have been expressing different feelings and reactions about what they saw by Disney, Lucasfilm, and J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zeroh. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future content. Now, in this video, I will be going over your reactions and your thoughts about The Rise of Skywalker. I wanted to make a special video where I could connect to you guys of what you felt about the movie and how I could actually discuss, what you guys thought about the film in comparison to what I think about the film. So I wanted to get right into it, and a lot of you guys have been expressing your thoughts about this movie. Do keep in mind that we will be going into spoilers in this video, so if you have not seen The Rise of Skywalker, please do X out of this video immediately. I want to go over what TheThinker had to say, so if you are in this video, here is your comment. Leia has no connection to Tatooine. Why was it symbolic to place the sabers there? Makes absolutely no sense. Now, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with TheThinker, but it is an interesting thought. Leia never grew up on the world of Tatooine. She never really had a legacy there. Though she is a part of the Skywalker bloodline, I 100% understand that. But at the same exact time, this was a way of Rey essentially honoring the Skywalker legacy, burying the lightsabers underneath the desert world of Tatooine, and pretty much just leaving them behind. The way it came off as, it was almost like the graves of both Luke and Leia, because then we have the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia appearing at the very end of the movie. So, yes, I can kind of agree with that. You know, Leia did not have a legacy on Tatooine. It was a little strange as to why her lightsaber was buried under Tatooine, but I don't think it's a really big deal, to be honest. I don't think it's too much to dwell over. I want to go over to another comment here that JDL had to say. Lightsaber duels are overrated and too long and boring. Too bad they didn't focus on good storylines instead. Now, JDL, I think I do have to disagree with that. I feel that the lightsaber duels weren't really too long, and they weren't really as boring as I thought they would be. However, the lightsaber duels, I may add, may have been overrated from what they were being hyped up to be in the teasers and the trailers. Yes, I do feel that they could have been a lot better. I think that it could have been more, much on a grand scale of things, to like Anakin versus Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. They had a lot of, opportunities in order to do something like that. I personally feel that the lightsaber duels were not long at all. I felt like that they were actually short. That's just my opinion. Moving on here, I want to go through, Eleonora actually has this to say. I absolutely agree, it should have been Ben Solo or maybe Ben and Rey together, but not this. And Rey calling herself a Skywalker? So bad, so bad. It felt like she was a usurper and no emotional depth. I think that's a typo there. A no emotional depth. And the kiss, so fast-paced, too fast. It was a beautiful kiss, but too fast. I do agree with a couple of things by Eleonora. What Eleonora says about the kiss, I will say it was a little rushed. Like I said in my reaction video, there is a moment where Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, is actually smiling. He is laughing because he's so happy, that he is with Rey now, and immediately just falls back on the ground and vanishes. I feel like they could have just slowed down the pace a little bit more to make it less awkward. For me, the kiss scene was a little awkward, but also Eleonora, I do agree with you as well. It should have been both Ben Solo and Rey to take on Palpatine without a doubt. I think that would have been better, because if you guys know me, I really do not like the very end of The Rise of Skywalker and how Rey kills Palpatine with ease. Yes, I do understand that she becomes a part of all the Force Ghosts, and yes, I understand that she is all of a Jedi, and that was Disney's approach, their way of essentially, justifying as to why Rey is able to do something like that. moving on here, I want to go over another reaction of the actual movie. For The Rise of Skywalker, let's say, for example, we have somebody right here. Brian has to say, just got back from watching, I thought it was a great movie. I liked how they weaved the old with the new. Loved how they mixed Palpatine in and the other bits. Not going to say too much as to spoil for others. The lightsaber battles were great, and the main battles were immense. Loved it. Could they have done more? Maybe, but respect to J.J. Abrams. What a mammoth challenge he's overcome. Like I say, I do agree the lightsaber duels were above average in this movie. Given that we didn't get one in The Last Jedi, and given that the one in The Force Awakens, I believe, could have been drastically improved. So yeah, I think it's pretty much a given that the lightsaber duels in this movie are the best of the sequel trilogy. That's what I have to say. So I do agree with Brian here about the lightsaber duels and how they pretty much weave the old with the new. I kind of like that as well. Some of the fan service, me personally, just didn't work. There was a number of fan service elements in the movie that does work, but there's other times where it just doesn't. So, moving down here, got a lot to go through. Let's say we have Dark Energy says, I sure wish we could have seen what Master Lucas would have done with this movie. Let's all start a campaign to bring back George. Alrighty, so we do know that George was involved with this film to an extent. He shot some scenes, a lot of which were deleted during the major changes of August, September, and October. You can see elements of the scenes that George Lucas left behind. If you guys watch the movie, there are tones in there that do bring you back to what George actually would have done. I think that one of them that really stood out to me personally was where Rey is actually inside of the second Death Star. I think it might be quite apparent that that was made by George. We have like the theme of Darth Vader's death there, so it kind of brings you back to that. Moving on to another here. I feel like people are missing the fact that there was absolutely no way to save this trilogy, because The Force Awakens completely botched the setup and painted the whole trilogy into a corner, where the last Skywalker would be someone who killed Han, and would have to die. With no more Skywalkers besides crappy Kylo, and Rey would have just had some stupid random backstory, there was no possible good answer to any of the stupid mystery boxes JJ set up. Last Jedi amazingly made matters worse, but the damage was done with Episode 7. Now, I don't think the damage was necessarily done with 7 per se. 7 really opened up a lot of possibilities. It really opened up a lot of fresh ideas of where things could go. The Last Jedi, I will agree though, it made things far worse. It really brought it down. I myself personally did not like The Last Jedi at all. In fact, I hated the film. The Rise of Skywalker is quite a step up from The Last Jedi. However, I do have moments where I hate and love the movie. I will be honest with that. So Daniel has this to say, if subpar Abrams wants to travel, heal, and retcon The Last Jedi, this should have been done, or there should have been a two-parter. Cramming a rewrite of 8 into 9 contributes to the failure of this film and the roller coaster disjointness of the film. The narrative I have read across YouTube all this week, to quote Cornelius Ryan's book title, it's a bridge too far. Alright, so I agree with this, Daniel, I do agree with this. What they did with this movie, it feels very crammed, very rushed, very convoluted, and that is absolutely because J.J. Abrams had to do a lot of damage control. He had to fix a lot of the mess that Rian Johnson left with The Last Jedi, and he couldn't clean it up for himself. That's exactly what happened here. So that's why this movie, I believe, yes, needed a two-parter. I 100% agree. This movie could have had a two-part thing, kind of similar to how Harry Potter was treated, or other, franchises out there are treated. I think a two-parter would have been very interesting. Having, the film's part 1 arrive in December, and then having the second part arrive in May. I think it would have been stunning if they could have done that. That, I believe, would have really fixed everything with the sequel trilogy and would have given JJ the opportunity to do so. Going through here, I want to just go through. Alright, so Based Dogman says, it had some entertaining bits in the first half, but the inclusion of Palpatine was too much for me. I think the sequel trilogy could have been improved. I had JJ handled Last Jedi. Snoke would probably still be alive, and they wouldn't have had to tarnish the ending of Return of the Jedi. Instead, we get a jam-packed, fan-serviced, ultimately forgettable movie. Now, I don't know if the movie's per se forgettable. It does have its highlight moments. It does have moments like when Ben Solo meets his father Han, and they have like a little pep talk, and that's in the form of a vision, and they part their ways. Beautiful moment, by the way. I think a lot of fans got teary-eyed over that. So it does have its moments. It's not necessarily forgettable in its entirety, but because of how fast it really goes, it's very hard to remember every single scene in order, right? If you think about The Rise of Skywalker right now after just seeing it, can you remember every single scene in order? It's kind of hard at first. You have to really think about it in order to process it. Now, with that being said, I want to go over the last one here of your responses. Let's see, I want to get a good one here. Alright. The script of The Rise of Skywalker didn't feel 100% great at times, Peter says. Surely Han would have said to Ben, "Your mother has gone." But he says instead Leia is gone to him. Did enjoy the nostalgia, but why is the Death Star still fracturally there? Though it was blown up a few times, though things didn't add up. We'll be seeing it one more time to make sure I've not missed anything to try and understand it more. Doesn't feel like changing Anakin's legacy prophecy. The Rise of Skywalker is not a bad film, but does have quite a lot of questions about it that don't add up. Alright, I do agree with this, Peter. It doesn't feel right changing Anakin's legacy prophecy. I agree with this. Having Rey defeat the Sith once and for all by killing Sidious, and her becoming the Chosen One, I think really does indeed interfere with Anakin's legacy and how it destroys everything. With that being said, at the same exact time, they could have done an easy fix with this where both Ben and Rey could have taken on Palpatine, combining their powers to take on Sidious equally. That would have been more realistic to me at least, and I understand, like I said before, Disney and Lucasfilm, they justify this by throwing in the Force ghosts of the past, becoming a part of Rey, giving her the power that she needs, and that allows her to destroy Sidious. The thing that I have a problem, though, is how she's able to deflect the lightning back at Palpatine, and Palpatine doesn't even have the idea, doesn't even have the logic to just say, let me stop, and let me just force push her out of the way. Could have just done that, right? Or at least force freezed her in midair. Could have done something like that, and maybe Palpatine's death could have been done in a more, I guess you could say, different or unexpected way to him by Rey. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.